I've been around and doing it, but now it's my time to shine and start proving it. I'm losing it, I'm moving it. The city is where I'm made, Bostonian flow, I kick it a back day. Yeah, I got game, God in a fan way. We the city of the champs, every sport we play. Spit wetter than the harbor, yeah, I'm flowing like the Charles. I be speeding on this beat, call it Turnpike Miles. Yeah, it's Boo signing on.
Welcome back, everyone, to the newest edition of Once a Week. I'm Billy Giannouloudis, and guys, today we have another great guest with us. You might have seen it on a video from a couple weeks ago, but we got Dillan Foss here, who is the founder of Limitless Theory. He's also a certified athletic trainer, and on top of that, he's a Nutrametrix Health Professional. And guys, it being the new year, we wanted to bring you something new for you guys to take with you the rest of the year. And now Dillan having this entire background with helping people health-wise, in the gym, and honestly, everything under the sun to help people tap into their limitless potential. We want to bring you guys something you could take into the new year to help you tap into that limitless potential. And Dillan, with his health background, I think that's something that we all need this coming year. So Dillan, welcome. I thank you for being on Once a Week once again, because last time was a pretty good message. Yeah. We want to give you guys this message. Dillan, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited we get to do this again. I think, like you said, we're going to be able to help people out through the new year, and 2020 is a big year. It's not just the beginning of a random year. It's the beginning of a decade. So,
yeah, exactly. Start the decade off right? But cool. All right, let's dive into it right now, because you help so many people health-wise. You help so many people in the gym and everything under the sun. If someone comes to you, a new client comes to you, and they want to set their health goals for the year, how do you start that out for someone? Someone come to you right now, watching this video, and like, I need some health goals. I just need a goal in general. What do you say to that person?
So recently, I've really been teaching people on this exercise that I found through a fellow entrepreneur through a podcast. And essentially, it could lead into setting concrete goals, but I don't think everyone is ready to set concrete goals, or what we call SMART goals, right?
Okay.
Everyone goes about those differently, and they can set goals without the best intention, or without providing really like the nuts and bolts of how to get there. And they also may just completely overestimate how quickly they can get there. And what that does is, for most people, is it can really set them back, right? You say you're going to do this and do that by February 2nd, and February 2nd comes around and you're not there. A lot of people take that detrimentally, and they quote unquote hop off the bandwagon, or, fall by the wayside, or, get out of rhythm. And I think what, works best for me, and what I've been trying to teach people lately, is this exercise called I Like, I Wish, I Wonder.
Okay.
Essentially, you're breaking down, take a piece of paper, take a whiteboard, whatever you got to do, and you make 3 columns. I like, I wish, and I wonder. I like, you're talking about things that you accomplished, things that you did, things that you made a part of your everyday life in the previous year, and what, how that helped you. I wish is basically hitting on those things that you wish you did, you wish you stuck with, you wish that you had really put more time into. And I wonder is essentially that vision of the out in front. What are we looking at if I do those things? If I hit that I wish column and continue with the I like column, where can I be in 5 years? Or where exactly can attaining those or adding those to my daily values really get me? And then from there, you get a real good sense of what you liked from the past, what you are wishing that you're doing in the present, and how that can play out and help you in the future. And then if people are really goal-oriented, then they can put those into concrete goals and set times and things of that nature.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. And like you said, your past, your present, and your future, that's something that I try and help people to realize, because truthfully, like, I like, I wish, I wonder. Your past creates the strengths you have in today, and whether people like to see that or not. But even if your like column doesn't necessarily have the best things in there,
exactly,
you can look back at your year and see, like, what, I had some of the toughest moments this year, but I'm still here. Meaning your past created someone strong enough in the present who can take on their future. Yep. So I like, I wish, I wonder. That's something that someone can run with right there.
Yeah, man, I think that's a good point. And I love the way that you look at that and you teach people through that your past creates, your future in a sense. And it also creates the way you look at your past
Yeah,
creates your current and your present emotional well-being or state.
yeah,
Right?
exactly.
That influences the way you are able to make moves in the future. So,
Yeah, it's awesome. And like what you're doing is bringing people a perspective shift. And
mhm.
if we're so gung ho on the present moment, it's a good thing sometimes, but it could be bad too. Because if you don't see where your perspective was the start of 2019,
Yeah,
your
yeah.
perspective was different, and then you can kind of, if you can see where that shifted, and if you can take the moment to just grab a journal, viewers right now, and do this I like, I wish, I wonder column, or past, present, future column, you see how much you've learned. And when you see how much you've learned, it's kind of like what Dillan just said, your past creates your future, but it can create such a better future if you learn from your past and move forward in all those great teachings. And that's what it's something that I've tried to do tremendously over the past X amount of years, that I've gotten my own strengths out of, and that's never ending. Because if you constantly have that perspective shift through this exact um, intervention that Dillan just brought to us, that's strength in your own right there. That's awesome.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's just changing the lens, right?
Exactly.
A
Yeah.
lot of people with regular goals, they just worry a little bit too much about the future,
Mm.
and they don't go into it with the mindset of, wow, I accomplished so much last year, let's see what I can get after this year, because they just start thinking future, future, future.
Exactly.
Most people are in the state of, I'm not where I want to be. So when you start to set goals with that intention or with that state of mindset, it's not going to preface you in the best way.
Exactly. Yeah. That's awesome. And so you take that and you help people with whatever goal they bring to you.
Mm.
You're personally kind of doing this on your own right in a health way. And before the video, guys, Dylan was explaining to me, he just started challenging himself, and he's fasting. And that's a challenge in itself. If anyone's ever tried fasting, I've tried to do it. I can get about 2 meals, and then I got to eat something. But Dylan, he's challenged himself, and you're going on 3 days, correct? Or you're almost. You
Yeah,
got
I'm about 65, 66 hours in right now.
Okay. So tell us, like, one, why did you want to challenge yourself through fasting in a health way? Because I know for a fact that brings your body, it challenges your body, but it brings it, I guess, so many new things. Because one, it challenges your mind. Two, it challenges your spirit, because like that just brings a whole different matter into it. But it trains your body in a whole different way. So what made you want to get into this challenge for yourself?
So there's really three major benefits to fasting that I've learned about over the last 2 years. And for me, I've never done a 5-day fast, and that's what I'm going for, just shy of like 120 hours.
Gotcha.
And essentially, the preface of it is that I started last year with
Mhm.
a 3-day fast, and it just did a lot for me mentally. But I also, on a physiological level, you start to understand, from my view, and what I've started to learn and really comprehend is the benefits of doing this are immense, and they really top anything else. And it's been done for thousands and thousands and thousands of years,
Mm.
and for good reason, right?
Yeah.
So the first one, like the first reason, is that mental discipline.
Mm.
I mean, if you're messing around with food and people are eating around you and you're around it all day and you can't eat,
Yeah.
that takes some serious, serious mental fortitude.
Exactly.
Um, Number two is just on a physiological level, it's called apoptosis. So when you start to fast, your body begins to eradicate all cells that have any sort of mutation,
That's awesome.
any cells that have any sort of ability to translate into bad things, such as diseases and
Mm.
symptoms, and even things like cancer.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah.
Um, and then on the third level is the metabolic efficiency, essentially. So basically, your body's ability to adapt and start using fats as your main energy source as opposed to sugars or glucose.
Nice.
And
Okay.
that's good for regulating leptin sensitivity, which is basically your hunger hormones, leptin and ghrelin, and then it's also good for the insulin resistance that you build up, because your liver no longer has to produce insulin when you're not taking in any sort of glucose. So your liver gets more time to cleanse. The walls inside of your digestive system get a chance to completely, cleanse out as well. Your colon cleanse. So all of those things play in. But it's been an interesting ride. I'm excited for the next 2 days.
I believe it, man. Now, what challenges have you faced? Because you mentioned the idea about being around other people when there's food and whatnot, and you got to challenge it. But what other challenges are there? Because say someone's watching this video right now, they want to challenge themselves to start the new year with all the information you're bringing to us in a health way. And fasting, that's a challenge. Should someone start with that, for one? But two, what challenges do you face even starting this goal?
Okay, so I would say first and foremost, it's like I'm in the fitness environment, right? So the premise is like, you got to work out every day. You got to be on top of that. And sometimes you have to realize that that's not the smartest thing, especially when you're fasting. So my ability to not work out for the last 2-3 days and be very sluggish mentally, and also not bring as much like energy and upbeat focus to my clients, to the group class that I taught on the first day that I started fasting. So all those things start to, weigh into, all right, is this really a smart idea for me? But like I said, this is something that I've done every month of 2019. I did a 24 to 32 hour fast at least one time per month. Certain days I'll do intermittent fasting, just for the fact that I'm like, I ate a little too much. I want to cleanse out a little bit. I want to, maybe skip breakfast, or today I want to do a fasted workout for this, that, and the next reason. I would say the best thing to do for people is to start with a 16-hour fast.
Nice.
And just, if it's something that you want to get into, just work on that. Maybe you stop eating Saturday night at 6 and you don't eat again until Sunday morning at 12. And a lot of people will drink coffee and tea and have, drinks and do things of that nature. Like, oh, I just had a banana. Like, what do you mean? Like, and I'm like, no, fasting is truly just water. Water only fasting. And if, some religions do dry fasting too, which is super hard.
That definitely. And now I tried anabolic fasting, and that's I just tapped on it too with the 16-hour rule. That's something that I've experienced, and that's anyone that wants to start the new year 2020 off with a health goal. That's something that is attainable. That Dillan just said 16 hours, because you think about it, your example right there was you stop eating at 6 and then you do it again the next morning. You're sleeping the predominant of that time.
Yeah, essentially.
And so if you're sleeping
for maybe 4 or 5 hours without eating, and it's very doable.
Exactly. That's the thing. These goals are very doable. So it being the video on the new year, someone comes to you with a new year goal. How do you help them break it down? Like, you have we just went over that intervention. How do you help them break their goals down? Like, I'm looking at 2020. I want to get all this stuff done. I have these massive goals. How do you go about helping your clients and just people in general, breaking that down into step-by-step process? Because I think that's something, if someone has a fasting goal, they can work up to it like in a 16-hour way that you're doing. But also, that works for anything, because it's step-by-step process to get anywhere we want to go.
Yeah, it's 100% something that you can apply across the board. So I like to look at it as, let's set large vision goals. Let's take a big step back. Let's see everything that we want to accomplish.
Yep.
And that's usually where like the I wish, I wonder comes in, right? You like what you did in the previous year. I wish I had done this, and where can that get me? So that kind of brings that perspective. It puts you in a nutshell, things that you want to add into your life, things that you're hopeful to attain. And then from there, okay, let's think about, by the end of the year, I want this, right? I want this skill. I want this mindset. I want this, etc.
Exactly.
Then let's take a step back and look at 6 months from now. What is the halfway point for December 2020? Where
Yeah.
can you be as a benchmark for June of 2020?
Exactly.
And I've always been someone that sets more quarterly goals than anything.
Okay.
So I'll have those big perspectives of like, yeah, I have a feeling of where I want to be in 1 year and 6 months, but those things can change so drastically, right? Like you were just talking about, like jobs, right? And the last time we talked, I had a different job.
Yeah.
So things like that can twist so quickly, and you don't want to get yourself wrapped up in attaining those. So I like to set quarterly goals, 90 days. What can I do for the next 90 days that is going to put me in a place or a closer position or just a better mindset to attain some of those goals.
Yeah.
So I like to look at setting quarterly goals.
Nice.
From there, weekly goals.
Nice.
So if you're looking at 12 weeks, let's set a goal for these next 12 weeks. And then how to get to that weekly goal. What am I going to do every day to get there? So, for example, I want to learn Spanish is a big 12-month goal for 2020.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in 6 months, I want to be fluent enough to talk it out, but maybe I'm not fully understanding the hearing aspect of it. Like I can't listen to a conversation and pull everything from it.
Yeah.
Right.
Get that.
By 3 months, I want to have the ability to like just be comfortable saying those everyday things that we might be doing.
Yeah.
Okay. So now on a weekly basis, I want to do, maybe 5 lessons per week. Okay. So now on a daily basis, I know that I want to do 1 lesson every day, Monday through Friday. So simple things like that. And from a nutrition and health perspective, the same thing can be applied.
Definitely. I like that because it's on YouTube, probably about maybe year and a half, almost 2 years ago now. I did a message that it came to me one day, futuristic backtrack. And what that was, and I think I'm able to put it at the end of this one. I don't think it's too old. YouTube's got its rules, but you can find it on YouTube. Once a week, Billy Giannouloudis, futuristic backtracking. But what that was is creating these massive goals for yourself, kind of like what you said. You take a step back, you see the ideal thing that you want, and you got to figure out who you had to become. Take a look into the future, who you had to become to be that person and what they had to do, because that brings you one step backwards. And then you do it again, one step backwards, to the point where you are the person you are today, but you now have the roadmap to get all the way to where you want to be in the future to become this person. And what you did is you now explain it on a weekly goal or a monthly goal or all the way down to like a daily goal.
What can I do daily? Yeah.
Exactly. You kind of take the entire thing from futuristic all the way down to here we are. So you kind of do the same thing with your clients that I've been able to get a lot of success out of with others, but also myself. So viewers right now, take that and run with it. Because that, I think, to go with the name Limitless Theory, that unlimits you right there to where you are limitless. That's something.
And I think that's a good point is like, once you get down to that daily point or to that point of who you are now, it's like, all right, well, I know my next step or my next day is going to consist of this. So I'm going to wake up tomorrow at this time. I'm going to do, these 3 things, and I'm going to go about my normal day after that. But, that's a good point. It's just like, what'd you call it? Futuristic backtracking?
Exactly. Futuristic backtracking.
That's cool. I like that for sure.
Yeah. Something to run with.
Yeah.
Now,
absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And so with this idea of the new year, you kind of just gave us so many different interventions, things to do with, I guess, creating the new 2020 version of ourselves, the person that we're trying to become in the course of our lives. And talking before the video, you explained to me how you're challenging your clients, you're challenging everyone, and you want to put it out to the viewers here, a new challenge, a nutrition challenge.
Yeah, man.
Explain this nutrition challenge to us, and if any viewers are out there want to challenge this to start your 2020 off the right way, Dillan's going to explain it right now.
For sure. So I've been doing this nutrition challenge for roughly 3 or 4 years, and I used to do it 3 times a year. I've since backed off, and I'm doing it just in the new year. And when clients and people reach out to me saying that they want to do it exclusively, by themselves. So this is always the biggest group that I have. We're looking at anywhere from 15 to 25 people doing it this time. And essentially, it's an awesome accountability group. And I am providing tons and tons of resources, daily motivation, and we are sending pictures of food in the group chat. You are getting a menu plan based on the questionnaire that you filled out. You are getting recommended not only a menu plan, but supplements. And whatever menu plan you get as well, you have the ability to get a corresponding recipe book plan. So it's something that you can print out, you keep in your kitchen. The menu plan you can put right on your fridge so that you're not getting told what to eat at exactly what time. We are teaching you how and educating you how those foods are going to affect you on a physiological level. And essentially, that gives you the driver's seat, right? That puts you in position to make the changes that are best for you, because I can't tell everybody to eat the same way. That's not going to get anyone anywhere. Each person is going to get their own menu plan based on what their questionnaire said. We're going to talk about like a lot of different nutrition topics throughout. It's going to be 21 days long, starting on January 13th, Monday, and working through February 2nd.
Nice.
And I'm super excited. It's basically, mostly virtual. There's people all over the place, different states. We've had people on the West Coast, East Coast, middle of the country.
Yeah.
And it'll be super fun. I definitely challenge you guys to at least reach out and hear more about the information. So if you want, reach out to me. You guys will be able to find all that stuff at the end of the podcast. So.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's perfect. So that being said, I got 3 questions left for you, and you kind of just hit on one of them. But we'll start with the big one first. We just went over all these different interventions. We just went over these different goals, way to go about goals. You have your own health goals you're pursuing. Sum it up for us. A goal going into 2020. What do you want to see out of your clients? What do you want to see out of yourself? What's something we can take and run with right now from Dillan Foss, Limitless Theory?
I think the biggest thing is my what I said previously in the last couple of days when I've been talking about and telling everybody is that the vision is what everyone's talking about, right? 2020 vision. Mm-hmm. So I think the word for this year is clarity. Good. And clarity comes from, I think, 3 different things. 1 is that large picture perspective. 2 is that very narrow picture of self-awareness. And 3 is building the discipline to live in the gray and not be worried about the black or white, because nothing happens in the true black or white. Everything has its retrospect. Everything has a second side to it. Everything has its ability to be translated differently, right? Like we talked about it earlier in the podcast. Yeah. You may have something very, bad that happened to you in the I like column because of what that caused you to go through and become. So I think 3 big things are: 1, focus on building mental discipline. 2, focus on looking at from a larger perspective. Anytime you are in a situation, take a step back. What can this, discipline, or what can this perspective and this event actually teach me for the future? And lastly, dive into everything that is going on inside of you, because once you can align those 3 things, you have a very good keen sense of where you need to improve from what you've done previously. You're also very appreciative and grateful of what you've done and received previously. Yeah. You understand how you want to be on a day-to-day present, moment, and then you understand where you want to go more than you ever have before. That clarity.
Yeah. I love that. I think that's awesome. And clarity, I think you're right. That is the 2020 that we're going to have. And I got to ask you, did you figure that out on yourself? Or did someone tell you that? How did you come across clarity being the focus of 2020?
It's funny. I was actually on Time Hop the day before New Year's and the day after, looking at some of the videos that I've done previously. Mm-hmm. And I noticed that my sister and I had talked about like words of the year. Okay. And 2018 and 2019 were both like, they played out. Like I couldn't, you know, it was really funny. I was like, wow, like, you know, I said that at the beginning of the year, and that really almost played out the entire year. That was something that like really showed itself throughout my actions, throughout my life, and throughout our situation. And I started thinking, you know, what is it that I want out of 2020? And it was really the thought process of like, well, one, you know, I'm starting with fasting, like, which right now brings a ton of mental clarity. Two, it just a matter of like knowing exactly what I want as I get a little bit older, as I have a lot more experience working from one place to the next and seeing what I don't want and what I do want, and knowing exactly how I'm going to get there. So everything just seems to be opening itself up like that, becoming a lot clearer. So I literally was that night, I think it was the same night I started fasting. I think it was January 1st. I came up with that. The word for this year is clarity. And then I was like, oh, the next morning I was like, oh, 2020 vision. I didn't even think about it. But,
yeah, I think that's really cool that you bring clarity into it. And the reason why I asked you if you came up with that or you saw it somewhere is because, you know, from other people that watch once a week, I'll have messages that pertain to everything. And, you know, I'm a faithful guy. I'm a spiritual guy. And in reading and everything, like, and diving into the faithful aspect, 2020 in history's terms is meant to be the year of clarity. So when I ask you why you came across it, for January 1st, you just get the message clarity, and then now you're running with it, mental clarity, physical clarity, spiritual clarity for that matter, and just trying to get clear the rest of your 2020 to have a great 2020. This, in everything I've read, is the year of clarity. So for you to say that, that's got some power behind it.
It's funny how those things play out. I'm not religious in any sense of the word whatsoever. I believe there's I mean, limitless literally is my belief. I think that we are all connected. There is a spiritual connection between all of us, and I think I tap into those things pretty often, sometimes.
Hey, that's what it's all about. You personally, I think that's incredible. So that's something to run with.
Yeah, it's funny that that's how it worked out.
Yeah. That's why I asked you, because I'm like, I'm seeing this elsewhere, like a different avenue. And for you to bring it up, I'm like, all right, there's a connection here, because we all come from different walks of life. So it's like, for us to have some sort of common ground there, I'm like, there's something to this clarity.
Yeah.
So it's funny, all right, we got the vision thing to see clear and everything, but clarity is this year for all of us to come and find our own clarity. So I think that it's awesome that you're bringing to your clients. That I think that's phenomenal.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I think it's also just happening on a societal level. Like, there's so many things that people are becoming more aware of because of technology and what it's opened us up to, and our ability to see through some of the stuff that like we kind of get blinded with. So it's funny how those things are playing out, and things on the health spectrum are becoming a lot clearer. People are understanding more of a physiological level what's going on, from, you know, everything they eat to how they sit to how they walk and drive, and just day to day. I think we're becoming more understanding. We're having a clearer vision of how day in and day out every present moment actually matters and adds up. So it's pretty wild.
It's so true. I love that right there. But that being said, second question might be the last question, because you kind of answered all of them right there. Other than, where can we find you? And now, I last video we did, we put Limitless Theory out there, but tell everyone right now, because you got the nutrition challenge, you got Limitless Theory. Where do we get to you?
So currently revamping my entire limitlesstheory3.com website. So just like you see it, Limitless Theory 3, the number 3.com. So that'll be up and running a little more smoothly. You can still go on there and check everything else that I have going on by February. So I'm really excited for that. I do mostly everything on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We talk on LinkedIn quite a bit. I post on LinkedIn. So then I also have YouTube, where all my podcasts are found, Spotify, all of that stuff. So there's quite a bit. I would say the easiest thing to do is go to my Instagram, dfoss_3, and or my website, and then my website can bring you to everything, and my Instagram has the link tree in the bio that'll bring you to everything too.
Exactly. Good. No, I'm glad. So guys, check Dillan out. I think we went over it today, and we tried to make it even more briefer than our last video because our last video was pretty long. But guys, there was a whole lot packed in this message, but take it and run with it, because Limitless Theory, the nutrition challenge, just your own goals leading into this new year, look for that clarity. Dillan brought so much to us right here. You can find more of them everywhere you just said. His website, he's got everything under the sun, actually, for social media, but look him up on Instagram. If you don't get Instagram, find him on Facebook. He's everywhere to get more of these podcasts, to get more just information that he's pouring out there. I see the information he's pouring out there. He's on it. He knows his stuff. He's been trained in this stuff, and he wants to help everyone, honestly, come to a new healthy being, which is, I think, just incredible. But Dillan, I thank you so much for being on once a week, and it was awesome to collab again with you, man. Do you have any lasting impressions you want to give to anyone before we sign off right now?
We are, life is limitless. That's about it.
There you go. I love it. But guys, look. What you said?
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course, man. Guys, look us up on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. We want to get that number up so we can get it to more people. Like this message. Like Dillan's page. Like those messages, guys. And then if this message impacted you specifically in some way, and you're sitting there and you're like, oh, so-and-so needs this, share it to them. Take the time, hit that share button, and just spread some more knowledge to someone that might need it to improve their life, because that power is in your hands. But guys, I thank you so much for tuning in. And guys, keep your eyes open, because next week's video is going to be right there. Thank you for being here. Dillan, thank you again.
Yeah, take care. Peace out.
See you guys.
I've been around and doing it, but now it's my time to shine and start proving it. I'm losing it, I'm moving it. The city is where I'm made, Bostonian flow, I kick it back, babe.